So, good day, third year students. So, I hope that you are okay amidst this very rainy week. Actually, may mga forecast tayo na talagang uulanin pa rin tayo, so just stay safe. So, nag-shift na ako sa pre-recorded videos para makapagsimula na tayo ng ating lesson para sa cell and molecular biology because we do not know what will happen next sa ating panahon. So, this would be our first lesson, and this one will be all about microscopy. So, it's not typical kasi usually pag nagsa-cell and molecular biology, ang usually dinidiscuss na una nila is cell theory, something like that. But in my case, I usually start with microscopy because microscopy, I believe that microscopy is an essential skill in cell and molecular biology. So moving forward, so, ito yung mga titingnan natin, ito yung isang skill na kailangan matutunan natin ng mabuti kasi paulit-ulit natin siyang gagamitin sa ating mga lessons and activities sa cell and molecular biology. So before we start with the topic microscopy itself, let's first have the background of the cell biology na ito. So, in this case, modern cell biology results from the weaving together of three different strands. So basically, sinasabi natin ng cell biology, it's somewhat synthetic. It's not pure in a sense na it can stand on its own. So basically, yung ating cell biology na topic or na field is actually the intertwined uh, fields of cytology, biochemistry, and genetics. I do hope na mas malalim ang inyong naging discussion ng biochemistry and genetics because from time to time, babalik-balikan natin ang concept ng dalawang iyan, yung field na iyan. So here is an illustration showing you the timeline of what I'm telling you about this cell biology na to. So, let's have this one first. So yung mga cells natin, they exist in a wide variety of shapes and sizes. So as you can see here on the illustration, iba-iba yung shapes nila. You can have filamentous fungal cells, you can have spiral type of bacterial cell, meron tayong mga donut shape, meron tayong mga weird shape actually. We have a multitude of shapes and sizes for our cells. Even sa ating katawan, sa ating human body, we have different types of cells based on its shapes and sizes. So iba-iba ang kanilang hugis, iba-iba ang kanilang laki. So they can have even exotic shapes as you can see here sa ating illustration. They will have an exotic shape for these types of cells. Okay? So microscopy, so syempre hindi naman natin madidiscover yung cells na yun on the first place kung wala rin man tayong ginamit na device or microscope. So microscopy has been invaluable in helping cell biologists overcome a fundamental problem, the problem of size. So ang ating mata limited tayo, wala tayong kakayahan na makita yung maliliit na mga objects na iyan, yung mga structures na yan, yung mga organisms na yan without the help of this microscopy na yan. So as you can see here, yung mga ultra structures or mga ultracellular structures ng ating mga cells na yan, they're quite small. So as you can see here, ang plant cell is typically 20 times by 30 micrometers. It's around 10 to raised to negative 6 meters. It's quite small. It's very small. You need to have a microscope at least para makapag-view ng mga plant cells. So here is an illustration showing you the scale. So as you can see here, and without the use of any devices, we can actually see some cells, frog eggs, chicken eggs, mga cells yan in large nerve cells. Meron tayong mga very long nerve cells that we do not need any microscope at all para ma-view ito. But after 1 millimeter, medyo hirap na ang ating paningin. So we need to use microscopes to view structures or specimens like eukaryotic cell, the nucleus, some bacteria, and even mitochondrion. But beyond 1 micrometer, doon na tayo sa field ng gagamit na tayo ng mas higher form or sabi natin mas sophisticated form ng microscope, and that one will be your electron microscope. If you want to view viruses, ribosomes, the proteins, the DNA, and even the ultrastructures of your eukaryotic cells, nucleus, and mitochondrion can be viewed using electron microscope. Unfortunately, we do not have access for to electron microscopes sa ating laboratory, but we will surely have experiments and activities for light microscope. Ayan. Right now, itong diagram natin, though it's not updated, meron na tayo, alam ko, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, meron na tayong mga microscopes na ginamit or techniques na ginamit para ma-view yung mga atoms natin. But we are not going to discuss that one since ang field naman natin right now, yung ating course, it's all about cell and molecular biology. But this time, if you want to view viruses, ribosomes, proteins, DNA, and even small molecules, you need to use electron microscope. At sabi ko nga kanina, we do not have access sa electron microscope. They're quite expensive. So, it needs a lot of investment para makabili tayo ng electron microscope. So pagtiisan na lang muna natin yung available sa ating laboratory. So, most biological studies and investigations of various systems are too small to be seen by the naked eye. So, yun yung medyo mahirap sa cell and molecular biology na course. We need an instrument, we need a device to view this very small structure, very small specimens na to. And at least we have a microscope to help us. So microscopes has become an indispensable tool as it allows the user to view objects with increased resolution and contrast. So ano ba itong resolution at contrast na ito? So pag-ibahin natin itong resolution at contrast na ito, what are these two words? So later on, we will see the difference between these two. So meron tayong waves and optics na course. Ako rin yata mag-handle sa inyo nun. But for the meantime, let's have a quick overview. So ang ating compound light microscope basically has an objective lens and an ocular lens. So it's a multiple lens system actually, itong mga microscopes natin. Pero nung unang panahon, most of the first iteration of this device, usually they use only single lens. But as time goes by, nag-develop na sila ng paggamit ng mga mirrors, ng mga lenses, mga multiple lenses, artificial light source. So we have come a long way sa paggamit or sa pagdevelop ng mga microscopes na ito. But nevertheless, ang ating mga microscopes ay multiple lens system na optical instrument. So ibig sabihin, binubuo siya ng maraming mga lenses to view those specimens. So, tingnan natin. Pag sinabi nating resolution, as you can see here, basically you can see here the 6 panels with the same picture or with the same image. But I hope that you can say that the lower part, itong nasa ibaba na ito, I will just use a laser pointer or a pen. This one has higher resolution than this one. Okay? So pag sinabi nating resolution, it's the ability of a microscope to distinguish between 2 points on the specimen. Siyempre, a microscope with high resolution will provide a sharper image for the user. Siyempre, mas magandang microscope, mas mataas na resolution, medyo mas pricey ng bahagya yung mga ganong klase microscope. Pero siyempre, if you are dealing with specimens, with organisms, with the very fine details or very fine structures, we really need to have a microscope with high resolution. We need to see the details ng mga structures na yan. So we need to have a microscope of higher resolution. Yun nga lang, ang downside lagi ng microscopes na may higher resolution, medyo mas finicky siya gamitin, mas mahirap siyang i-manipulate, at medyo mas may kamahalan yung mga ganong microscopes na yan. Okay? So pag sinabi naman nating contrast, it's the different is the different in intensity perceived between different parts of an image. As you can see here, we have a ciliate. A ciliate is a protozoan, okay, na napapalibutan ng mga cilia. Basically, pareho sila ng picture. It's the same, almost the same specimen. It's the same specimen actually. But there are some structures na hindi natin kita dito sa unang structure, sa unang image na to. There are fine hairs, may mga projections yung mga fine hairs na may mga impressions siyang naiwan, but they are not clearly seen. Unlike sa ating ikalawang litrato na ito, sa ating ikalawang micrograph, you can see here that there are lots of cilia projecting here na wala sa unang picture or hindi kita sa unang picture. So ibig sabihin, we can manipulate a microscope to increase contrast para makita natin yung iba't ibang parte ng isang image. Because at one time, at one point, you cannot see clearly the whole thing. Lalo sa mga makakapal na specimen, we need to adjust the microscope. At yan ang aaralin natin sa ating first laboratory activity, which is all about microscopy. So anong pwede natin gawin? Una, syempre, i-adjust natin yung microscope. We can adjust the the body tube. We can lower the stage. We can manipulate the adjustment knobs para maging klaro ang ating image. We can also adjust the amount of light that enters our microscope. And also, ito ituturo ko soon, yung paggamit ng stains. Itong stains na to, these are chemical stains or biochemical stains na ipinapatak yan sa mga specimens natin para mag-add siya ng contrast. So, for example, ang specimen natin, for example, meron tayong specimen ng cheek cells galing sa pisngin sa loob ng bibig natin. Most of the time, those cells are almost see-through, medyo translucent. So, we cannot see clearly the structures of those cells. So maglalagay lang tayo, papatakan lang natin yung mga cells na yan ng mga stains like methylene blue para makita natin yung mga structures na nandun sa mga cells na yun na originally transparent or translucent. Okay, so you have now the resolution and contrast. Now, another property na chine-check natin sa microscope is actually magnification. So linawin natin ha, pag gumagamit tayo ng microscope, hindi lumalaki yung object. Ang lumalaki sa ating microscope is the image of the object. So we are just magnifying, we are just having the process of enlarging the apparent size, not the physical size of a specimen. Kasi baka may mga bata na ang akala, pag sinabi nating magnify, the object becomes larger. Okay? So linawin natin, the apparent size or just the image ang namamagnify or lumalaki kapag gumagamit tayo ng microscope. Siyempre, sabi ko nga ulit, kapag mas mataas ang magnification, mas mahirap siyang i-manipulate. Kailangan siya ng extra skill set to manipulate those microscope. And in some cases, mas pricey yung mga microscope of higher magnification. Pero sa case natin ng course ng Cell and Molecular Biology, and you as well as you na kayo ay magtuturo na sa high school, the typical light microscopes na makikita natin sa mga science lab is enough for you to discuss basic concepts about cell and in general, the cell biology in general. So sa atin, okay na tayo. We can settle with the microscopes available in our laboratory. So dito na tayo papasok sa two types ng microscopes. So we have the light microscope and the electron microscope. So titingnan natin ano nga bang pinagkaiba ng light at saka electron microscopes na ito. Ayan. So as you can see here sa light microscope, the light or the maybe at artificial natural light is focused on a specimen by a glass condenser lens. Ibig sabihin, liwanag mismo ang papasok sa ating microscope, sa ating optical systems ng ating microscope para makapag-magnify ng image ng isang object. Okay? So the image is then magnified by an objective lens at yun and an ocular lens for the projection in our eyes. So, ibig sabihin, pag pumasok na ang liwanag sa ating microscope, it will now start the magnification process. Kaya mapapansin ninyo, ang unang skill na ituturo ko syempre sa paggamit ng microscope ay pagkuha ng tamang liwanag para sa ating microscope. Okay? While sa electron microscope, we do not need light at all. Ang kailangan natin sa mga electron microscope from the name itself is beams of electrons. Okay? So tignan natin mamaya, ano ang pinagkaiba ng light at electron microscope? Ano yung itsura ng image na form sa ating light and electron microscope? So, simulan natin. So, sa light microscope, they use visible light. Sabi ko nga po kanina, the visible light and a coordinate system of lenses, an optical system composed of lenses to examine small objects not visible to the naked eye. This can also be used to view specimens in finer detail that the naked eye allows. So, may mga features ang ating mga light microscopes that helps us to view finer details sa ating mga specimens. So far naman, yung mga microscope na nasa lab, ay kaya namang ma-achieve yung mga goals na gusto nating ma-tackle sa ating laboratory class. So, yung light microscopes na yan, liwanag ang pinaka-importanting kailangan niyang kolektahin bago tayo magsimula ng viewing. So there are several types of microscopy. So hindi yung iba dito wala naman tayong gano'ng microscope, so papasadahan na lang po natin. But some of these, medyo technique lang naman ang kailangan kaya nagagawa natin 'yan. For example, the first one here is bright field, 'yan yung typical na ginagamit natin. Ibig sabihin yung, the light passes directly through the specimen. So 'yan yung may-experience natin. As you can see here, mababa ito square ano, highlight ko lang, okey. Here, as you can see here, very low contrast yung ating specimen here. But once we stain the specimen, there are several internal structure or finer structures ang nakikita na natin. So once na gumamit tayo ng stains, meron din tayong mga phase contrast, meron lang tayong mga kinakabit na mga filters sa ating mga microscopes that can actually help us amplify some variations, especially sa refractive index ng ating specimen. So mas makikita natin yung mga even unpigmented yung cell, makikita natin yung features niya. So unfortunately, we do not have fluorescent microscopes and confocal microscopes. So yun medyo na tayo, kulang. So medyo obviously medyo pricey itong mga microscopes na ito. It's not a cheap device actually. But I think it's more than 100,000 pesos yung mga ganyan mga microscope. So we do not have the device for this one. So, dun lang tayo, stay put lang tayo sa bright field na lang. Kasi yun lang naman ang available. At most probably, once na nasa field na kayo, yun naman ang may encounter ninyo pag nagtuturo na kayo. So, however, siyempre, kailangan at least ito, hindi ako nakagamit personally, but I have seen one when I went to UP. We had a training sa molecular biology. And staff told me that tabletop microscope na actually hindi siya mukhang microscope in the first place. That contraption na nasa table na yan, it's worth 1 million pesos, and that's actually the electron microscope ng kanilang laboratory. So it's hindi siya obvious na microscope, it's just marami siyang mga tubo, may mga gears lang siyang ganyan, tapos may mga chambers, and obviously they do not look like a microscope at all. So this one, the major breakthrough in resolving power, kasi very limited. May problema kasi ang ating visible light, hindi niya kayang lumagpas sa wavelength na yon. So kailangan nating maghanap ng ibang paraan para mag-magnify or at least mag-view ng specimen beyond the visible light spectrum. So in this case, the first electron microscope was invented in Germany in 1931 by Max Knoll and Ernst Ruska. So in this case, ang ginagamit ng electron microscopes are beams of electrons. They do not use light at all. Okay? So may dalawang uri tayo ng electron microscopy. We have the TEM or the transmission electron microscope, which ang ginagawa dito, yung mga electrons, it passes through the specimen. Kaya ang itsura ng mga picture ng mga specimens under TEM, para siyang ganito. Very fine yung mga makikita nating structure. Okay? Like this one. This one is a TEM as well as this one. Ayan, mga TEM yung mga yan. Kitang-kita natin yung internal structure niya. Tumatagos mismo sa kanya yung beams ng electrons. While sa scanning electron microscope, the electron beams rather, scans across the specimen. Kaya madaling pag-ibahin, pag mukhang 3D yung ating photomicrograph, most probably that was produced under SEM. Pero kapag kita natin yung mga ultrastructure sa loob ng specimen dahil nga tumatagos yung ating mga electrons, most likely this one is viewed under TEM or the transmission electron microscopes. Again, medyo may kamahalan ang mga microscopes na yan, pero kung gusto niyo mag-aral at may specimens kayong gusto makita under Cementem, pwede kayong magpadala ng mga specimens sa mga reputable scientific institutions sa UP, UST. Meron silang may mga ano sila, parang per picture yata, meron silang certain rate. Kasi medyo hindi siya typical na ilalagay mo lang yung specimen tas view na agad. Meron kang mga prior preparations para ma-view yung mga specimens under these kinds of scanning electron microscope. Okay? So yan, tingnan niyo yung mga example ng scanning electron microscopy. Very detailed. 3D ang dating ng mga pictures o ng photomicrographs ng ating mga specimens under SEM. And here is an overview ng procedures na ginagamit kapag gagamit tayo ng electron microscopy. It's not just the typical na kuha ka ng specimen, lagay mo sa slide, and view it under the microscope. No, it would take several processes of dehydration, cutting, preparation, mga ganyan, para bago siya i-view sa ating SEM or kaya sa ating TEM o sa scanning and transmission electron microscope. So, lagi nating tatandaan ang ating mga microscope, mapa-light microscope yan kahit alam natin mukhang cheap yung ating microscope, they are precision optical instrument. They need to be calibrated and most of them are quite expensive. Okay? Kaya nung ako ay syempre kwento lang, nung ako ay graduating student na ng BSE Biology, we have a subject din na ang tawag is biotechniques. We are required to create slides of different specimens. Siyempre ang hirap ng microscope at ilan din kami. So, ang ginawa ko, pinag-ipunan ko and I bought my own microscope. And it's not cheap for me ha. Bilang isang estudyante, the microscope that I bought is worth 5,000 pesos. At makikita nyo siya sa ating first laboratory activity. We will be using my own microscope. At buo pa siya. It was 2010, hanggang ngayon buo pa rin siya. Kasi nga iniingatan ko yung microscope na yon. So ganyan po dapat pag kayo nasa field na o kayo nagtuturo na, please handle with care ang ating mga microscopes. Assume natin na mahal yung microscope. At may mahal naman talaga sila. Okay? So here are some of the ways on proper handling and use of the microscope. Usually dapat po may dust cover yung ating microscope. Obviously, from the name itself, dust covered, tinatakpan niya para hindi maalikabukan yung ating mga microscope. Ang unang kalaban lagi ng ating microscope is dust or amag. Okay, so yan ang laging kalaban ng ating mga microscope. So here, as you can see here sa ating picture, this is how we should carry a microscope when kailangan yung isang arm o yung isang hand, highlight na lang natin, yan, hawak niya yung arm ng microscope while the other arm supports the base. Ganyan po lagi and it's usually close to our body. So don't worry, pag nakita-kita naman tayo, ipapakita ko naman sa inyo yung paggamit ng microscope na yan. Next, place the microscope at least an inch perpendicular from the edge of the table. So huwag niyo namang idikit sa gilid mismo ng ating lamesa yung microscope na yan. Obviously, kapag yan ay nakahang or na medyo malapit sa gilid, may tendency niyan ay malaglag yung microscope natin. So at least 1 inch. Ang ginagawa kong rule dyan, at least 1 thumb away from the edge of the table. Ganun lagi ang rule para at least medyo malayo siya sa edge ng ating table. So once na tayo ay nag-laboratory, yan yung mga titingnan ko sa una pa lang. Pag-handle, paglagay ng mga microscope sa mga lamesa, sa mga setups natin, something like that. Next, hihilahin natin yung microscope specifically sa may arm part dito. There will be a joint and that joint is called the inclination joint. This is the joint. Itong triangular part na to is the pillar and this is the base ng ating microscope. And meron niyang hinge o para siyang may mga parang tornil or gear na pwede nating hilahin pababa para ma-facilitate yung viewing ng specimen at para hindi manakit yung leeg natin. Yan yung napapansin ko sa mga nagre-reels na teacher. Actually, sikat siyang nagre-reels. Hindi ko na siya iano. Karamihan ng mga estudyante niya, mali yung pag-handle ng microscope. Nakatayo ng mabuti yung draw tube. Kaya yung mga bata naka-hover sa ating eyepiece. So medyo hirap yung mga bata. But in this case, actually, pwede naman nating i-bend yung ating inclination joint or yung ating upper part ng ating microscope para mas facilitate or hindi sumakit ang leeg natin kakasilip sa ating microscope. Then, while looking through the eyepiece, yun yung nasa may tuktok ng ating microscope kung saan tayo sumisilip, we can now adjust the mirror. So yung mirror na yan, may dalawang surface yan. There is a plane surface, flat, and a concave surface. Sa waves and optics, yung plane mirror na yan, usually ginagamit natin pag ample yung dami ng liwanag sa paligid. Yung medyo maliwanag yung room. Pero pag concave, we usually use that one kapag medyo point yung source of light. Okay? So, habang nakasilip ka sa eyepiece, ginagalaw mo yung mirror ng microscope at kailangan mo makita sa field of view mo, sa circle na makikita mo sa eyepiece, it's actually a white circle. Okay, ganito dapat. Pero 'pag grayish, gray na ganito, may linya sa gitna or ring, something like that, ibig sabihin hindi tama ang dami ng liwanag na nakukuha nung ating microscope. Kailangan mo pang i-adjust muli yung ating microscope o yung mirror para makasagap siya ng mas tamang dami ng liwanag. So again, mirror ang i-a-adjust. Pero 'pag totally talagang wala talagang makita sa area, you can change the place or change the location of that microscope. Baka naman hirap din talaga yung microscope sa area na yun. Then here, pag may specimens ka ng ready, you will place the slide on the center of the stage and secure it properly with a stage clip. So make sure po na yung ating mga specimen po ay nakasecure ng mabuti with stage clip. Lalo na kung naka-incline yan, kung nakahilig na yung ating microscope, there's a tendency na malaglag yung specimen natin at mabasag yung slide. Kaya pag naglalagay na tayo ng specimen sa ating stage, you need to secure those specimen or those slide with a stage clip. Okay? Then once na nandun na sa ating stage yung slide, you can now start revolving or pwede na nating hanapin yung pinakamababang lowest power objective na meron yung ating microscope. So meron tayong tinatawag na revolving nose piece. This one is to para siyang disc shape. Yan. And it's mayroon with twistable, naiikot siya, it can revolve, kaya nga revolving nose piece, kung saan nakadikit yung mga objectives natin. And we must look for the lowest or the low power objectives at doon tayo magsisimula. Not the high power objective. It's always the lowest. Kung meron tayong scanner na objective, better. Pero kung wala naman, at least the low power objectives will do. Okay? Again, start with low, not with high power objective. So once na natin 'yan, ayan nakatapat na siya sa scanner, we can now use the adjustment knobs para habang nakasilip ka 'no, hanggang sa luminaw na yung ating specimen or in a case na hindi siya luminaw, tumaas yung resolution at maging sharp na yung focus ng ating specimen. Hindi na siya blurred, hindi na siya magulo, or hindi siya, malabo sa ating paningin. So course adjustment na muna at kapag medyo maliit na adjustment na lang kailangan mo, puwede ka na mag-shift sa fine adjustment knob. Sa ating mga microscope, usually magkahiwalay ang coarse at saka fine adjustment knob, so you can easily see that one. Yung mas malaki, that's the coarse adjustment knob, at yung fine adjustment knob are the smaller knob na usually katabi. But there are some microscopes like this one, magkapatong. The larger one here is the coarse and the smaller one here is the fine adjustment knob. So adjust lang natin yan hanggang sa luminaw yung specimen sa ating paningin. So actually, we're almost done. Here's the four microscope objectives na ginagamit natin, and they can easily be distinguished by a color band sa kanilang tube. If that's scanner, meaning it can magnify the image or the image 4 times. Low power, the yellow one, it's 10 times. High power is 40 times. And oil immersion, 100 times. So yan po yung pagkakaiba-iba ng ating mga objectives. And as you can see there sa ating illustration, mas maikli yung scanner, mas mahaba yung dalawa, yung ating high power and oil immersion. Pero sa case naman natin sa cell and molecular biology, we are not going to deal with oil immersion. So oil immersion uses cedar oil para mas pwede nating taasan pa yung mismong magnification kasi ididikit mismo natin yung dulo nito, yan. Ididikit natin yan sa mismong cedar oil, magbabago ngayon yung refractive index, mas tataas yung magnification. And this one is usually used in viewing bacteria, kaya ma-encounter nyo sa microbiology. But here in cell and molecular biology, okay na tayo sa tatlong ito. Okay? Stick na tayo dyan. Then here, so ito lang po yun. Ito yung last part, I think. It's how to get the total magnification. Do not worry. Pag nasa laboratory session tayo, ituturo ko po sa inyo lahat ng skills na tinuro ko po ngayon. Okay? So the total magnification is equals to, okay, the eyepiece magnification multiplied to objective magnification. So for example, ang ginagamit natin is LPO. Alam natin na 10x ang LPO. Tapos ang ginamit nating, eyepiece is 5x, multiply mo lang siya. So 5 times 10, it's 50x or 50 times magnification. If you have a scanner objective, which is 4x here, and a 10x na eyepiece, so 10 times 4, that's 40. Here is a low power, 10, and a 10 eyepiece. So 10 times 10, that's 100 times. Ibig sabihin yung ating image, yung ating specimen, will be viewed under 100 times magnification. And lastly, you have here a high power, which is 40x multiplied to 10x, and that will yield a 400 times magnification. Okay? Times 4 kumpara sa ikalawa nating example. So that's yan yung mga ituturo ko po pag nag-laboratory session na tayo sa mga susunod na araw. So that ends our discussion. Maikli lang siya kasi it's skill-based naman tong first lesson na ito. So we will be seeing each other sa ating lab session na ituturo ko na sa inyo paano gumamit ng ating microscopes. Again, so salamat po and I hope you learn something from this lesson.